Imagine possessing a superpower so potent, it could create life, fuel your ambitions, and unlock the secrets of the universe. Now, imagine flushing it down the drain every single day, without a second thought. That's exactly what you're doing every time you indulge in mindless release. Draining yourself of the very energy that could elevate you to your highest potential. And you don't even realize it. This isn't about guilt. It's not about shame. It's about control. Your control over your own mind, your own body, and your own destiny. Every moment of pleasure comes at a cost, a price you've been paying in silence, lost energy, dulled focus, weakened willpower. And it's been happening for so long that you've accepted it as normal. But what if you were never meant to live this way? What if the very thing you've been conditioned to see as natural is the one thing holding you back from becoming everything you were meant to be? Let's start where the deception begins. What they never told you about your life force. You've been told that ejaculation is just a natural function of the body, something harmless, even necessary. They've framed it as a simple biological release, a way to relieve stress, to wind down, to satisfy an urge. But they never told you what you were really giving away. They never told you that with every release, you're depleting the very essence that fuels your mind, body, and spirit. You weren't meant to drain yourself of this power. You were meant to cultivate it, harness it, and use it to elevate your existence. But they never wanted you to know that. Ancient traditions knew what modern science is only now beginning to confirm. Your sexual energy is more than just reproductive material. It is your life force. In Taoist philosophy, they call it Jing, the raw essence of your vitality. In Hinduism, it is Kundalini, the coiled serpent of energy that, when harnessed, can awaken higher states of consciousness. In the West, the great minds of history, Da Vinci, Tesla, Newton, were said to have practiced retention, channeling their sexual energy into genius, innovation, and enlightenment. And yet, in today's world, this knowledge has been buried, hidden beneath layers of misinformation, ridicule, and distraction. They don't want you to know the power you hold within you. Because a man who masters his own energy becomes unstoppable. Science is finally catching up with what the ancients understood thousands of years ago. Every drop of semen is packed with essential nutrients, bioelectric energy, and hormonal compounds that directly affect your strength, focus, and mental clarity. Zinc, magnesium, selenium, and vital amino acids, each playing a critical role in brain function, testosterone production, and cellular regeneration. When you recklessly deplete this energy, you weaken yourself at the deepest level. Your body must then work overtime to replenish what you've lost, diverting energy away from your goals, your ambition, and your higher purpose. The more you waste, the weaker you become, not just physically, but mentally and spiritually. And yet society encourages this cycle of depletion. Think about it. From the moment you hit puberty, you were bombarded with messages normalizing self-release. They told you it was a sign of maturity, of health, of being a regular guy. They filled your mind with images, stories, and expectations designed to keep you trapped in a cycle of instant gratification. But they never told you the cost. They never told you that with every release, you are robbing yourself of focus, willpower, and drive. They never told you that it's the reason you feel drained, sluggish, and uninspired. There's a reason why athletes, warriors, and spiritual leaders throughout history have practiced semen retention. It wasn't superstition. It was science before science had the words for it. When you hold on to your sexual energy, you are storing raw creative power. The same power that can build empires, fuel artistic breakthroughs, and sharpen your ability to manifest what you desire. It is a fire that, when channeled correctly, turns into charisma, presence, and mental clarity. And when you stop wasting it, something shifts inside you. You start walking differently. You start speaking with more confidence. People notice your energy without even knowing why. But if this knowledge is so powerful, why isn't it common? Why isn't it taught in schools? Why do doctors and so-called experts dismiss it as pseudoscience? Because keeping you depleted keeps you weak. A man who is constantly drained of his energy is easier to control. He's less likely to resist, to question, to challenge the system. He's more likely to be distracted, lost in a haze of pleasure-seeking, numbed by the very habits that are keeping him small. A society of weak men is a society that is easy to manipulate, easy to sell to, easy to keep asleep. The moment you start to retain to harness this energy instead of wasting it, you begin to wake up. Your body starts healing, your mind sharpens, your spirit feels stronger than it has in years. It's not magic, it's biology, it's chemistry, it's the law of nature. And if you doubt it, test it for yourself. Go just 1 week without releasing and feel the difference. Hold it for 2 weeks and see your energy surge. Go a full month and you'll start to understand why this knowledge has been hidden from you. Because a man who controls his energy controls his destiny. Some truths are too powerful to share here on YouTube. If you want to dive deeper into the hidden knowledge behind this ancient practice, join our free newsletter, Insights Academy. And for a limited time, you'll receive the Kybalion ebook. Sign up at the link in the description before it's too late. But this is just the beginning. Because once you start retaining, something else happens. Your brain rewires, your perception shifts, and you begin to see just how deep the programming runs. And that's exactly what we're going to uncover next. The modern world thrives on one thing: your addiction to pleasure. Every product, every advertisement, every algorithm is designed to hijack your dopamine, keeping you in a cycle of seeking the next quick hit. And there's no greater trap than the one that exploits your most primal urge. You've been told that self-release is harmless, that it's natural, that it even has health benefits. But what if that was the biggest lie of all? What if every time you indulge, you're rewiring your brain for weakness, sabotaging your own success, and destroying the very energy that makes you a man? Science is only beginning to scratch the surface of what retention does to the human body and mind. When you hold on to your sexual energy, something incredible happens. Within just a few days, your testosterone levels begin to rise, reaching peak levels around day 7. Some studies have shown that men who abstain from ejaculation for just 1 week can experience 45.7% increase in serum testosterone levels. That's not a placebo. That's a chemical shift in your body that directly impacts your confidence, your ability to focus, and your drive to achieve. And that's just the beginning. Testosterone is the hormone of dominance, ambition, and power. When it's high, you move through life differently. You think more clearly, you take action without hesitation, and you become naturally more attractive to others. It sharpens your mind, fortifies your willpower, and makes you more resilient under pressure. But when it's low, the opposite happens. You become indecisive, passive, and weak. You hesitate instead of acting. You feel unmotivated, stuck in your own thoughts, and unable to break free from self-doubt. And what's the quickest way to tank your testosterone? You already know the answer, but it doesn't stop there. Retention heightens dopamine sensitivity, the very thing that determines how much motivation and pleasure you get from life itself. Every time you release, you flood your brain with a surge of dopamine, an artificial high that desensitizes your receptors over time. This is why men who constantly indulge in self-release often feel lethargic, unmotivated, and numb to life's joys. Their brains have been hijacked by instant gratification, making them blind to the deeper, more fulfilling pleasures that come from discipline, achievement, and purpose. But when you stop, when you retain, something remarkable happens. Your dopamine receptors reset. The same things that once felt dull or uninteresting, work, social interactions, personal goals, suddenly feel exciting again. You regain the ability to find meaning in life, to experience deep fulfillment from things that actually matter. Retention also enhances your nervous system, leading to sharper reflexes, faster reaction times, and a heightened sense of awareness. Studies have found that abstaining from ejaculation increases spinal cord reflex excitability, meaning your body reacts faster and more efficiently to external stimuli. This isn't just beneficial for athletes. It's beneficial for anyone who wants to operate at peak performance. Whether physically, mentally, or spiritually, your body literally becomes stronger. Your stamina increases, and your ability to push through challenges skyrockets. And then there's the effect on energy and aura, something science is still struggling to explain, yet ancient wisdom has always known. You've probably noticed it yourself. Men who retain have a different presence. There's a power in their eyes, a confidence in their movements, an intensity in the way they speak. People can feel it. Women are drawn to it. Men respect it. And opportunities seem to gravitate toward them effortlessly. This is no accident. When you hold on to your energy, you project a different frequency, one of control, of purpose, of raw masculine power. But let's get one thing clear. This isn't about never having sex. It's about mastery. It's about breaking the cycle of mindless indulgence and reclaiming control over your most powerful energy source. It's about making a conscious choice. Do you let your desires control you, or do you control them? Because the men who truly understand this secret, the men who have mastered their own energy, are the ones who rise above the masses. They are the ones who accomplish things others can't. They tap into a power that most men never even realize they possess. The system doesn't want you to know this. That's why they mock it, suppress it, and ridicule anyone who speaks about it. They want you trapped in a cycle of release and depletion, numbed by your own indulgence, too weak to resist the distractions they throw at you. Because a man who is drained of his life force is a man who is easy to manipulate. But once you see the truth, once you feel the power that comes from holding on to your energy, you can never go back. And this is just the biological aspect. What happens to your spirit when you retain your sexual energy is something even more profound. Because when you stop releasing, your mind starts to change. Your perception of reality begins to shift. You start seeing the world for what it really is. And that's what we're about to uncover next. There's a war happening right now, and most men don't even realize they're on the losing side. It's not fought with guns or armies. It's fought in the shadows, in the quiet moments when no one is watching. In the privacy of your own mind. It's a war on your attention, your willpower, and your very essence as a man. And the most powerful weapon they've deployed against you? Pornography. You've been told it's harmless, that it's normal, that everyone does it. They say it's just a way to relieve stress, to blow off steam, to satisfy an urge. But what they won't tell you is that it's one of the most effective tools ever created to keep you weak, distracted, and spiritually numb. Every time you consume it, you're feeding into an addiction that rewires your brain for self-destruction. You're programming yourself to be a slave to instant gratification, to crave what is easy rather than fight for what is meaningful. The science is undeniable. Pornography hijacks the brain's reward system in the same way hard drugs do. It floods your system with an unnatural surge of dopamine, creating an artificial high that dulls your receptors over time. The more you consume, the more your brain becomes dependent on it, needing more extreme content just to feel the same level of stimulation. And with every click, with every indulgence, you become more disconnected from real-life pleasure. The simple things that once brought you joy, conversation, achievement, connection, start to feel dull and lifeless. Your baseline happiness drops, and suddenly nothing excites you anymore except the next hit. And that's exactly how they want you. The weaker you are, the easier you are to control. A man who is drained, unfocused, and addicted to an endless cycle of consumption is not a threat. He is compliant. He is predictable. He is trapped in his own self-imposed cage, never realizing that the key has been in his hands the entire time. Because here's the truth. They don't just profit from your addiction. They designed it. The pornography industry isn't just a billion-dollar machine. It's a tool for control. It keeps you distracted. It keeps you isolated. And it keeps you too numb to ever rise above mediocrity. Think about how much time, energy, and ambition have been stolen from you because of this habit. Think about the dreams you've set aside, the relationships you've neglected, the moments of creativity and passion that have been lost in the fog of your own indulgence. The real cost of this addiction isn't just measured in wasted hours. It's measured in the version of you that never got to exist. The version of you who was focused, driven, powerful. The version of you who could have built something great. Who could have stood tall, unshaken, in full control of his own mind. But this isn't just about your brain. It goes deeper than that. Every time you indulge in pornography, you weaken your spirit. You disconnect from the part of yourself that is meant to grow, to strive, to transcend. The ancient traditions knew this. That's why every major spiritual system warned against uncontrolled sexual indulgence. Taoism, Tantra, Hinduism, even the monastic traditions of Christianity and Buddhism, all of them understood that sexual energy is sacred. It is the very force that fuels spiritual awakening, the fire that, when properly directed, can elevate you to a state of enlightenment. But when that energy is wasted, when it is drained into mindless indulgence, it has the opposite effect. It dims your light. It keeps you spiritually asleep. Have you ever noticed that after watching porn, after giving in to that urge, you feel off? Maybe you feel empty. Maybe you feel less confident, less grounded, less in control. That's not a coincidence. That's your energy being drained. That's your consciousness dimming. That's your spirit calling out, warning you that you're walking the wrong path. And the more you ignore that voice, the weaker it gets. Until one day you stop hearing it altogether. Most men will never escape this trap. They will live their lives caught in an endless cycle of self-indulgence, never realizing the potential they threw away. But you have a choice. You can wake up. You can take back your power. And it starts by recognizing the system for what it really is, a machine designed to keep you weak. Once you see that, you can break free. Once you understand the cost, you will never look at it the same way again. But awareness is only the first step. Because now that you understand the trap, it's time to learn the real secret, how this very energy, the energy you've been throwing away, is actually the key to unlocking your highest self. And that's what we're about to dive into next. There's a reason every major spiritual tradition throughout history has warned against wasting sexual energy. Not because of morality, not because of shame, but because they understood something modern society has made you forget. Your sexual energy is the key to unlocking your higher self. It is the bridge between the physical and the spiritual. The force that can either elevate you to new levels of consciousness or keep you trapped in the lower realms of existence. And right now, most men are stuck. Their energy leaking away every time they give in to their desires, never realizing what they're sacrificing. In Taoist practices, they call it Jing, the essence of life itself. In Tantra, it's Shakti, the divine force that fuels enlightenment. In Kundalini traditions, it is the coiled serpent at the base of your spine, waiting to be awakened. And in Western esotericism, it's been spoken of in whispers, hidden in symbols, locked away in secret teachings that only a few have ever truly understood. But one thing is certain: those who knew this secret protected it, guarded it, practiced it religiously, because they understood that sexual energy is not just about pleasure. It is the raw power that fuels transformation, manifestation, and spiritual ascension. But in today's world, this knowledge has been erased. Now they teach you that sex is just a physical act, that ejaculation is just a biological function, that pleasure is just something to be indulged in mindlessly. They keep you in the dark, never allowing you to discover what happens when you actually retain this energy. Because when you stop wasting it, when you start redirecting it instead of releasing it, something profound begins to happen. Your mind sharpens, your creativity expands, your focus becomes unshakable. You begin to feel a deeper sense of purpose, as if something inside you is awakening for the first time. The energy you once lost so easily begins to build within you, circulating through your body, strengthening your spirit. Your presence changes. People notice something different about you, though they can't quite explain it. Your aura becomes more magnetic, your words more impactful, your confidence unshakable. Women sense it. Other men respect it. And opportunities that once seemed out of reach begin to flow into your life effortlessly. This is no accident. This is what happens when you stop dissipating your power and start cultivating it. But this isn't just about attraction or success. It's about something far deeper. When you retain your energy, your spiritual awareness begins to expand. You start seeing the world differently. Your perception sharpens. Your intuition strengthens. And your connection to something greater than yourself deepens. Meditation becomes more profound. Your dreams become more vivid. The fog that once clouded your mind begins to clear. And you start to realize how much of your life was spent in a state of numbness. Ancient masters understood that sexual energy, when harnessed correctly, could lead to enlightenment. This is why monks, sages, and spiritual seekers throughout history practiced celibacy. Not because they were afraid of pleasure, but because they understood its power. They knew that if they could master their desires, instead of being mastered by them, they could unlock levels of consciousness that most people never experience. They could access deeper wisdom, heightened creativity, and an unbreakable inner strength. And yet, in today's world, this practice is mocked, ridiculed, even demonized. Why? Because a man who controls his sexual energy is a man who cannot be controlled. He is not easily manipulated by lust, by advertising, by cheap dopamine hits. He is not a slave to his lower nature. He moves with purpose, operates with focus, and commands respect without saying a word. This is the power they don't want you to have. Because the moment you reclaim it, you break free from the cycle that has kept you weak, distracted, and spiritually stagnant. You've felt it before, even if only for a brief moment. That surge of energy after a few days of retention. That feeling of heightened awareness. That sense of being more in tune with yourself and the world around you. Imagine what would happen if you cultivated that energy instead of throwing it away. Imagine what you could become if you mastered it, refined it, and used it to fuel your growth. This is what the ancient teachings were trying to show you. This is the path to transformation. But theory is one thing, experience is another. If you truly want to understand the power of retention, you need to test it for yourself. Not for a day, not for a week, but for 30 days. A full month of reclaiming your energy, redirecting your focus, and stepping into your power. Because once you do, once you feel what it's like to operate at your highest potential, you'll never go back. You've been draining yourself for years, maybe even decades, without realizing the consequences. You've felt the fog, the lethargy, the lack of motivation. You've wondered why you can't seem to stay consistent, why your focus slips, why you struggle to break free from bad habits. And now, for the first time, you understand what's been happening. You've seen the truth, that your energy, your life force, has been slipping away with every indulgence. The question now is, what are you going to do about it? Because this isn't just about knowledge. Knowing the truth means nothing if you don't act on it. If you really want to reclaim your power, if you want to feel what it's like to operate at your peak, you need to experience retention for yourself. Not in theory, not as a vague idea, but as a lived reality. And the only way to do that is through action. The next 30 days could change everything for you. For the first time in your life, you will commit to holding on to your energy, to resisting the urge to give in, and to directing that energy towards something greater. You will track your mood, your focus, your strength, your confidence. You will pay attention to the way you carry yourself, the way others respond to you, the way your mind begins to clear. And what you'll realize, if you make it through, is that you have been operating at a fraction of your true potential all along. The first few days will be easy. The excitement of starting something new will carry you. But soon, the cravings will come, the tharges. The habits you've spent years reinforcing will begin to surface. And this is where most men fail. They let their impulses control them. They mistake the discomfort for a sign that they need release. But here's the truth, that discomfort is where the transformation begins. It's your body adapting, rewiring, learning to function without the crutch of artificial pleasure. If you push through, something shifts. The urges begin to fade. Your energy starts to build. You begin to feel stronger, more alive, more in control than ever before. And it's not just psychological. Your body is changing. Your testosterone is rising. Your dopamine receptors are resetting. Your nervous system is recalibrating, becoming more sensitive to real-life pleasure, real experiences, real moments of connection. The fog lifts. Your motivation returns. Your discipline strengthens. Your presence becomes undeniable. But this challenge isn't just about retention. It's about using the energy you save to fuel something greater. If you simply hold on to it without redirecting it, without channeling it into something meaningful, the energy will build up with nowhere to go. That's why this isn't just about avoiding release. It's about transformation. It's about moving your body, training your mind, building something, creating something stepping into the version of yourself that has been buried beneath years of wasted potential. By the time you reach day 15, something incredible happens. The energy that once drained you now fuels you. You wake up with purpose. Your mind is clear. Your emotions are stable. Your drive is unshakable. People notice. Women sense the shift in your energy, drawn to you without understanding why. Other men respect your presence, your confidence, your certainty. And by day 30, you will have experienced something most men never do. True self-mastery. Because that's what this is really about. Mastering your urges. Mastering your energy. Mastering yourself. Most men are slaves to their desires, tossed around by their emotions, controlled by whatever craving arises in the moment. But not you, not anymore. You've seen the truth. You understand what's at stake. You know the power you hold within you. And now you have a choice. Do you go back to the cycle of indulgence, depletion, and weakness? Or do you step forward, reclaim your power, and commit to something greater? This challenge is not for the weak. It's not for those looking for an easy fix. It's for those ready to break free, to rise above, to unlock their true potential. And if you make it through, if you hold the line and refuse to give in, you will understand something that can't be explained, only experienced. You will feel it in your body, in your mind, in your soul, the power, the clarity, the undeniable presence of a man in control of himself. Most men will never know what that feels like. They will continue down the same path, stuck in the same habits, never realizing what they could have been. But you are not most men. You wouldn't still be here listening, absorbing, understanding, if you were. The only question left is, will you prove it to yourself? You were never meant to be weak. You were never meant to be addicted, distracted, and drained of your power. But look around you. How many men today are truly in control of themselves? How many walk with confidence, with presence? How many are awake, aware, fully engaged with life is? The truth, most men are stuck in a system that was designed to keep them exactly where they are. Weak, passive, and easy to manipulate. And the greatest trick they ever pulled was convincing you that this is just the way things are. Think about it. From the moment you were born, they began conditioning you. They fed you stories about what it means to be a man, about what's normal, about what's acceptable. They put screens in front of you before you could even think for yourself, shaping your desires, your habits, your expectations. They gave you easy access to endless stimulation, endless entertainment, endless escape routes. Because a man who is constantly chasing cheap pleasure never stops to question his reality. He never stops to ask if the way he's living is actually serving him. This is not a mistake. It's by design. The system profits from your weakness. The more distracted you are, the more money they make. The more addicted you are, the easier you are to control. Every industry benefits from your lack of self-control. The food industry, the porn industry, the entertainment industry, the pharmaceutical industry. They all thrive when you are lost, when you are numbing yourself, when you are too depleted to resist. And the moment you start waking up, the moment you start taking your power back, you become dangerous to them. That's why they mock semen retention. That's why they ridicule men who talk about discipline, self-control, and mastery. They need you to believe it's nonsense. They need you to think it's some outdated, unrealistic idea so that you never actually try it for yourself. Because if you did, if you really committed, you would see the truth. You would feel the difference. And once you feel it, you can never go back. A man who retains his energy, who masters his impulses, who refuses to be controlled by his cravings. He is a threat. He cannot be easily influenced by marketing tactics. He does not need external validation to feel whole. He does not seek cheap pleasure because he has cultivated something far more powerful. Inner strength. He does not waste his time chasing meaningless distractions because he is too busy building something real. But breaking free is not easy. The system has been programming you for years, reinforcing patterns of weakness, rewarding instant gratification, making discipline feel like an impossible task. That's why so many men fail. They try for a few days, then fall back into old habits. They convince themselves it doesn't matter. That one more time won't make a difference. But it does. Every decision you make is shaping the man you are becoming. Every time you choose discipline over indulgence, you reinforce a new reality. Every time you resist the urge to give in, you are strengthening the foundation of your future self. There will be resistance. Your mind will fight you. Your body will crave what it has been conditioned to seek. You will feel the pull of old habits, trying to drag you back into comfort, into passivity, into the cycle that has kept you stuck for so long. But this time, you will know the truth. You will see the manipulation for what it is, and you will have a choice: to continue being a pawn in their game, or to take back control and forge your own path. Every great man in history understood this. Warriors, kings, inventors, spiritual leaders. They all knew the power of sexual energy. They all knew that mastery over oneself was the key to greatness. They built empires, created masterpieces, shaped the world, because they refused to let their impulses dictate their actions. They learned to harness their energy, to focus it, to direct it towards something greater. And now, it's your turn. You are at the crossroads. You can continue living the way you always have, stuck in the same cycles, feeling the same frustration, making the same excuses. Or you can break free. You can choose mastery. You can reclaim the power that has been slipping through your fingers for years. The system is not on your side. It never was. It never will be. But that doesn't mean you are powerless. It just means you have to fight for your freedom. You have to take responsibility for your own mind, your own habits, your own energy. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to hand you discipline, focus, and strength. You have to cultivate it yourself. This is not just about retention. This is about self-ownership. This is about waking up from the illusions you've been fed your entire life and choosing something different. This is about stepping into your full potential and refusing to be another casualty of a broken system. Most men will never do this work. They will stay distracted, addicted, depleted. They will continue searching for fulfillment in things that only drain them further. But you are not most men. You wouldn't be here if you were. The only question now is, what are you willing to do with this knowledge? Because knowing the truth is not enough. You have to act on it. You have to embody it. You have to live it. And once you do, everything changes. The way you see yourself, the way you move through the world, the way people respond to you. It all shifts. Because when a man reclaims his energy, he reclaims his power. And once you have that, there is no going back. Every man reaches a moment in his life where he has to make a decision. A moment where he either chooses to rise or chooses to stay the same. And the truth is, most men will stay the same. They will continue to drain themselves, continue to fall into the same patterns, continue to live at a fraction of their true power. They will tell themselves it doesn't matter, that it's just a small habit, that it's just part of life. But deep down they know. They feel it. Every time they look in the mirror and see a man who lacks direction. They feel it every time they set a goal and never follow through. They feel it every time they wonder why they can't break free from the cycle of procrastination, self-doubt, and wasted potential. Weakness is not an accident. It's a choice. Every time you indulge in instant gratification, every time you give in to a craving, every time you settle for comfort instead of challenge, you are making a choice. And every choice either builds you up or breaks you down. There is no middle ground. There is no, just this once. Because just this once turns into a habit, and habits define your life. But here's the real question. How much longer are you willing to keep making the same excuses? How many more years are you going to tell yourself that you'll start tomorrow? That you'll change when you're ready? That you'll get serious when life gives you a reason to? That day will never come. No one is going to hand you discipline. No one is going to force you to reclaim your power. You either decide to step into your potential, or you don't. And if you don't, someone else will use your energy for their own gain. Because make no mistake, your energy is valuable. It's the currency of life. And right now, you are giving it away for nothing. You are letting $1 billion industry steal your strength, your focus, your ambition. All in exchange for a few moments of empty pleasure. You are letting your greatest asset slip through your fingers. And for what? A habit that leaves you feeling drained. A cycle that keeps you stuck. A temporary high that comes at the cost of your long-term power. This is not about shame. It's not about guilt. It's about reality. If you want to be strong, if you want to be successful, if you want to be respected, you have to make the hard choices. You have to sacrifice what is easy for what is meaningful. You have to develop the discipline to say no to the things that weaken you, and yes to the things that build you. And yes, it will be hard. It will test you. It will push you. It will force you to confront the part of yourself that wants to take the easy way out. But that's the point. Growth does not come from comfort. Strength does not come from indulging in every impulse. Mastery does not come from making excuses. It comes from doing the work, from facing the struggle, from choosing discipline when every part of you wants to give in. You've been lied to your entire life. They told you that weakness was normal, that indulgence was harmless, that discipline was unnecessary. They wanted you to believe that success, confidence, and strength were things you were either born with or not. But none of that is true. Strength is built. Confidence is earned. Power is cultivated. And it starts with the choices you make every single day. If you want to break free, if you want to reclaim your energy, if you want to feel what it's like to operate at your highest level, you have to decide right now. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Not when life makes it convenient for you. Now. Because every day you wait, every day you delay, is another day lost. Another day where you could have been building something real, something powerful, something that actually matters. Most men will never make this decision. Most men will stay trapped in the cycle, never realizing how much they could have been, how much they could have done, how much they could have changed. But you are not most men. You've made it this far. You've seen the truth. You understand what's at stake. Now the only question left is, what will you do with this knowledge? Will you let it fade? Let it become just another video you watched? Just another idea you entertained for a moment before returning to your old ways? Or will you take action? Will you commit? Will you step into the power that has always been yours? This is your moment. This is your test. This is the choice that will define you. Most men will fail, but you don't have to. The decision is yours. Mastery isn't given, it isn't inherited. It isn't something you stumble into by chance. Mastery is earned. It is built through discipline, through commitment, through the willingness to do what others won't. And at the core of mastery is control. Control over your actions, your thoughts, your emotions, and most importantly, your energy. Because the man who controls his energy controls his life. Look at the world around you. How many men are in control of themselves? How many move with purpose? How many carry an unshakable presence? The kind that commands respect without saying a word. The answer is simple, not many. Because true control, true mastery, is rare. Most men are ruled by their impulses. They react instead of act. They seek comfort instead of challenge. They indulge in what is easy rather than commit to what is necessary. And as a result, they live lives that are small, predictable, and unfulfilled. But you are not meant for that. If you were, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be questioning the system, searching for truth, seeking a way to rise above the mediocrity that has trapped so many. You are here because something inside you knows there is more. You've felt it before. That fire, that spark, that pull towards something greater. And now you know what's been holding you back. You know the energy you've been wasting. You know the power that has been slipping through your fingers. The question now is, what will you do with it? Retention is not just about stopping an old habit. It's about replacing it with something better. It's about using the energy you've saved to build, to create, to evolve. Because make no mistake, this energy is not meant to sit still. It is not meant to be suppressed. It is meant to be transmuted, redirected, into strength, into focus, into your work, your passion, your purpose. This is where most men fail. They think they can simply stop releasing and expect miracles to happen. But energy without direction is chaos. If you do not give it a purpose, it will overwhelm you. So where will you put it? Into your body, training harder than ever before, into your mind, absorbing knowledge, refining your discipline, sharpening your focus, into your craft, building something of value, creating something that lasts, into your relationships, becoming the kind of man who leads, who inspires, who is unshaken by outside influence, Because if you don't give this energy a direction, it will find its way back to old habits, back to wasted potential, back to the life you are trying to leave behind. You are now at the threshold. You have seen what is possible. You have understood the cost of indulgence and the reward of discipline. You have glimpsed the version of yourself that exists on the other side of mastery. But getting there requires more than knowledge. It requires action. It requires a commitment. Not just for a week, not just for a month, but for life. This is the difference between those who succeed and those who fade back into mediocrity. The ones who succeed understand that mastery is not a destination but a process. It is something you recommit to every single day. And here's the truth: there will be setbacks. There will be moments where your mind tries to pull you back into old patterns. There will be times when the cravings hit, when the urge to escape into comfort becomes overwhelming. But every time you resist, every time you hold the line, you become stronger. Every time you choose control over chaos, you reinforce the foundation of the man you're becoming. And eventually, the struggle fades. The cravings disappear. The need for external pleasure is replaced by an internal fire that cannot be extinguished. This is what separates the few from the many. Many will always look for excuses. They will justify their failures, rationalize their weaknesses, convince themselves that discipline is too hard, that mastery is unattainable. But the few, those who truly rise, they understand that strength is built in the struggle, that every challenge is an opportunity to grow, that every test is a chance to prove to yourself what you are truly capable of. You are now faced with a choice. Will you take what you have learned and put it into action? Will you commit to the process, knowing that it will not be easy but that it will be worth it? Will you step into the version of yourself that has been waiting for you to claim him? Or will you let this be just another moment of realization, another glimpse at what could have been, another truth ignored? Most men will choose the latter. But you don't have to. You have the knowledge, you have the power. The only thing left is to decide: will you step forward, or will you stay where you are? There comes a point in every man's life when he has to decide who he is going to be. Not in words, not in thoughts, but in action. It's the moment where you either commit to becoming the man you were meant to be, or you continue down the same path, repeating the same cycles, making the same excuses, and settling for a life that never reaches its full potential. That moment is now. You've seen the truth. You understand what's been happening to you, how your energy has been drained, how your power has been slipping away with every moment of indulgence. You now know why you felt weak, why you've struggled with focus, why your motivation comes in waves and disappears just as fast. You've been running on an empty tank, never realizing that the fuel you needed was inside you all along. Now you have a choice: to continue as you were, or to reclaim the energy that has been stolen from you and use it to become something more. Most men will never make this choice. They will tell themselves they will change, that they will start tomorrow, that one day they will get serious about their life. But tomorrow never comes. A week turns into a month into a year, and before they know it, they are looking back on a life filled with regret. They never reached their full potential, not because they weren't capable, but because they didn't have the discipline to take control. But you do. You are not most men. You wouldn't have made it this far if you were. You wouldn't have questioned the narrative, challenged the programming, or sought out knowledge that most men are too afraid to face. You are different. You have always been different, and now it's time to prove it. Not to anyone else, but to yourself. The path forward is clear. You know what you need to do. Retention is not just about stopping a habit. It's about replacing weakness with strength. It's about transforming your energy into something greater. It's about walking through life with a presence that cannot be ignored. A confidence that does not need validation. A power that radiates from within. This is what happens when you take control of your energy. When you stop leaking it out mindlessly and start using it to yield yourself into something unstoppable. The world does not reward the weak. It does not elevate the distracted. It does not hand success to those who waste their time chasing fleeting pleasure. The world belongs to the disciplined, to the focused, to the men who have mastered themselves. These are the men who create, who build, who shape reality itself. These are the men who walk into a room and command attention without saying a word. These are the men who set the standard, who refuse to be controlled, who refuse to be ordinary. And now you have the opportunity to join them. This is your time. The system will keep trying to pull you back, to make you believe that discipline is unnecessary, that you are fine the way you are. But deep down you know the truth. You know that there is more. You know that you were meant for something greater. And now it's up to you to take the next step. If you're ready to take this knowledge to the next level, join Insights Academy, a free newsletter where we share the deeper truths that can't be discussed here. And for a limited time, you'll also receive the Kybalion, one of the most powerful books on ancient wisdom. The link is in the description. The decision is yours. The path is in front of you. All that's left is to take the first step.